What's up, everybody, and welcome to number 2 of the blind tag simulations that we're doing on the website now. This time around, however, it's not in the build-up for a pay-per-view. Instead, it is a dream match, something that we would love to see but has never happened.
I've dreamed about it many a time.
Many times. As you can hear by his voice, I'm not joined by Brad.
No.
Tim has no interest in this stuff. So Joe's decided to sit down with me.
Hello.
And today we are simming CM Punk once again. I know there seems to be a running theme, but it's against a certain man who's running wild no less, in TNA, or at least he was for a short while ago. You know a bit more about his TNA tenure than I do.
Yes.
It's no secret. They can see it on the YouTube where it's the name.
They know who it is by now.
Exactly.
Unless they can't read. I don't know.
It's CM Punk versus Kurt Angle.
Yes.
And the reason we picked this match was because, well, Kurt Angle was one of the best in the WWE for a very long time, and he's one of the best in TNA as well. And if you don't believe it, then you simply don't recognize talent. What do you think of that?
I fully agree with that assessment.
There you go. Kurt Angle is one of the best of all time, and I'll be really surprised if he doesn't somehow get into like the WWE Hall of Fame one day or anything like that. Yeah, even if it has to be because his contract is lapsed or something like that. But he's going to go there. But yeah, I mean, this dream match is... It comes around because Kurt was the main face of ECW when they first opened it. Or first opened a store.
They first opened up shop.
When they first brought the brand back as essentially WWE ECW.
Yes. 2006, I think.
That's right, and Kurt was supposed to be one of the main guys on it. At that time, Punk debuted in the WWE.
Yeah.
Roughly, I think Kurt was out of WWE August 2006. And Punk came in, I think, June or July 2006. So they had no time to cross over because Punk was wrestling such stalwarts like Kevin Thorne.
Just incredible.
And the Zombie.
Yeah.
And Kurt was bothering with... Who were the main eventers at the time?
I think in the ECW, it was the Big Show initially. He was one of the main guys.
He was one of the main champs, wasn't
he? Yeah.
Was he the first champ?
No, it was Rob Van Dam.
Oh, yeah, of course it was, because Rob Van Dam held that and the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Then he got caught smoking weed in his car.
With Sabu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those guys.
That was silly.
But yeah, that's the reason we're simming this match right now. And, I mean, we've obviously already seen this match to see who wins and stuff. I mean, it's a real back-and-forth contest, as you'd imagine it would be.
Yeah.
I want to give props to the guy who made the Kurt Angle Create Wrestler. We grabbed him off the PS3 Community Creations. I can't recall his name off the top of my head, so I will include a thanks and credit in the description below. So don't worry about that. You get credit, dude, and you did a great job with it.
It really is good.
Yeah, really great job.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's so much back and forth in this match, just as I think there would be in real life.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But yeah, I think there's going to be loads of back and forth, and really, I mean, these two are some of the best in the business, especially right now. I mean, the way that this sim works is, imagine both of these guys in their prime.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind
Punk now
it.
versus Angle, say, 2002 or 3 when he was main event in every pay-per-view and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Like Kurt Angle when he was a big deal, just like Punk is now. So that's the idea behind it. It's just like the main event matches we would have loved to have seen. Because again, like these guys would have shared a locker room or whatever, but they would, I guess, have never had a reason to talk together, talk with one another. But I mean, what are some of the things that you think you would see out of this match?
Obviously, I think it'd be a lot of obviously a lot of sort of technical mat wrestling, I guess, because Punk doesn't do it so much nowadays, but he was renowned for his mat wrestling.
Absolutely.
He came into WWE. Obviously, Angle was sort of a master at it, so I guess we get a sort of technical sort of match from that standpoint.
That's a great point. But, I think what's interesting about it, too, is the fact that Punk has that indie upbringing, whereas Kurt Angle kind of came in from the Olympics and got fast-tracked, because, he was courted by the original ECW originally before finally going with WWE.
Yeah.
And obviously he's never looked back since. But he's never had to bother with that indie kind of take on things.
He got straight into the big leagues. Exactly.
So, I mean, it's essentially like, I don't know, what would you look at as, like, they would bill it like the mainstream versus indie or something like that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But I just think overall, it's a match that I'd love to see one day. I mean, rumors fly all the time about Kurt coming back to WWE, but Kurt, he likes working a limited schedule. He likes
I think TNA suits him.
Yeah,
the way he's got at the moment. But
I mean, essentially, doesn't he essentially work just like one day?
I think that's why he left WWE, because he was working so much, and
yeah,
his body was breaking down, I guess.
Yeah, it was. He had all those pain pill problems and stuff like that. I mean, Brad was talking at the show, like, you know, he's got a drink problem and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he says it's well documented, but I want to believe Kurt. I don't want to believe Brad. Brad said Cena's heel.
Brad talks a lot of bollocks, shall we say?
And he said Ziggler would win at the Rumble, and he didn't on both.
Yeah.
Brad gets it wrong. Hashtag Brad is wrong.
Still.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, I mean, this, I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit. You got to apologize. I mean, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
Yeah, I'm very tired.
But, yeah, you and me both.
I'm drained emotionally. But no.
From this amazing match. And as far as Sims goes, is actually a pretty solid match. Yeah. But, I mean, the idea of pairing up two legends in their prime is just something that's pretty cool and something that WWE 12 allows us to do, and it's a great example of it. We'd love to hear what you guys would love to see in the future.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so many dream match possibilities out there.
Even if it's anybody, you know, living or dead, against the current guy, anybody, really.
I mean, right now we got WWE versus TNA. We can do Ring of Honor versus WWE, or, yeah, that's it, Legends, Dead or Alive, whatever you guys want to see. But, I mean, we're seeing a massive different suplexes here and stuff like that. I mean, Kurt undeniably is a suplex machine.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't he? What was it? Is it the wrestling machine for a while?
He was the wrestling machine. I think that's when he was in ECW.
That's not very catchy, is it?
They sort of booked him as just a machine, basically. That's what he was, really.
Was this around the time that Joe was a Samoan submission machine?
Yeah, I think that's what happened, when they brought him in.
The same kind
TNA,
of thing?
It made sense to put the two submission experts together.
Yeah, but I mean, like, during this time when Kurt was big in WWE in, like, 06, when he was wrestling under the Wrestling Machine name, or moniker, if you will, wasn't Joe in TNA?
Joe was, the main guy in TNA, yeah.
I mean, speaking of Joe, he's had a fall from grace, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Like, what's he doing? Tagging with what's his name?
With Magnus now, and there's getting a little bit of a push.
What the fuck is that about? I know, sorry guys. If you guys want to know more about TNA, check out the BJ Pod show when they can be bothered to do a show.
On, yeah.
Apart from that, stick with us here at Blind Tag Podcast, of course. Anaconda Vice?
So that's the kind of match they booked. I reckon they bill it as sort of submissions.
That'd be
like
sick.
Ankle lock versus Anaconda Vice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of thing.
I mean, even their kind of finishers are relatively similar. You know, just both high impact slams or hits of some sort, like the angle slam versus GTS and stuff like that. I think these two, insofar as style, would suit each other really well in the ring.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
Honestly, I think they'd have just such an epic match.
I can imagine them two having like Iron Man matches and stuff, like really long sort of technical sort of matches like that.
Absolutely. Or what about if it was like, I mean, we've only had like 3 stages of Hell match in the entire existence of WWE, haven't we?
2, I think.
2, really?
I think so.
But you met like between these two, like 1 round is a submission match, 1 round is pinfall kind of thing.
Or just even a 2 out of 3 falls match, something like that would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe ultimately they wouldn't need any sort of stipulation. Just a straight up wrestling match might be enough for them.
Yeah.
You know, because to let these guys just both go loose and do what they know how to do and are both so good at. I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, Kurt obviously comes from that amateur background. You got to kind of wonder how difficult it was to transition from something that's essentially real to something that's
I think it did take him a while when he
scripted.
first came in. I think for a while there he wasn't really sort of having that many great matches, but
yeah,
you know, after a while.
When he first came in, wasn't he wrestling people like Taz and stuff like that?
His first match on pay-per-view was against like Sean Stasiak or someone. Terrible. So.
Well, even then, there's similarities between the two with that, because I mean, we just compared Punk's coming into ECW against Kevin Thorne and stuff, and he was leaving Ring of Honor, who he was main eventing.
That was a big deal, when he left.
Yeah. Did you see his last match? Have you ever seen it against, ironically enough, Joe?
Yeah. I'm sure I did. Yeah.
That was an amazing match. Yeah. They wrestled for like fucking forever.
Was it an hour? I think they did one.
Something like that. It was an insane amount of time, and it was an amazing matchup.
Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't seen it on YouTube, you're on YouTube watching this. Check it out after.
Please do.
After. But yeah, I mean, this sim right now, as you guys have seen, super back and forth, and I gotta
a lot
say,
of counters. You imagine that would be the case. So.
Yeah, it's like almost catch-as-catch-can style. You know, like the wrestling leads to a counter, and reversal, counter reversal, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I can't say it enough. I think this match would be great, and I'd love. I personally would love it if Angle came back to the WWE. I miss him in the WWE.
I think he will eventually. I think guys that have gone to TNA eventually, like Foley and Christian, and they eventually will come back, and I'm sure that's the case with Angle.
I don't know. Angle's like one of the first to leave. Really?
Oh yeah, it was the first big sort of acquisition for TNA out of WWE. But.
And he's still there. You know, again, it might simply come down.
But at the moment, he's mainly being used to sort of put guys over in the main event, like James Storm. At the moment, he's not really.
Maybe he's at that stage in his career now where he's okay with
he's thinking,
putting people over.
It's better to put guys over now than anything else. But
it's a bit of a weird place to be. I mean, he is older, don't forget.
Yeah.
You can tell he's older because he doesn't have a grasp on Twitter.
No.
He's not very good on Twitter. He just plagues people with his Angle foods, which I'm sure is very tasty, but, you know,
sure they are, but.
He never really tweets about anything in particular, just Angle foods.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, just enough about him on Twitter, I suppose. Really. Insofar as just wrestling ability, I mean, who do you think is flat out better between the two?
Out of the two? Well, I'd say Angle, I think, in his prime, I think was a bit better. Because back in the day, in about 2002, you had Angle on SmackDown, and he was part of the group of guys. It was like Benoit, Guerrero,
Do you
Edge.
think that might have something to do with the quality of competitor that he had at the time?
Yeah,
versus somebody like John Cena right now?
Yeah. There are people that basically just weren't wrestling the same match every time they went out, like you get now pretty much in most sort of main events.
Yeah, I mean, you had Kurt Angle wrestling people who are amazing wrestlers.
Yeah.
You know, even people like Brock Lesnar, who was in it for a short period of time, was pretty good at what he was doing.
I mean that match at WrestleMania 19.
Yeah,
both
absolutely.
Kurt Angle was injured going into that match, and he still.
And Brock Lesnar left injured.
Lesnar broke his neck.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. But I don't know. It's just a great dream match.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, this is something that just came to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had so many great suggestions. We talk about one on the podcast, number 12, which we recorded just before this. And, you know, we have full intention of doing it. But I don't know, just something about the idea of seeing an in prime, which is right now, CM Punk versus a prime.
There's a lot you could have with CM Punk. I mean, I don't think we ever really saw a Punk Shawn Michaels one-on-one match, did we, or anything like that?
Not really, no. Yeah, so, this is it. I don't want Punk to become the running theme of this, but
there's a lot of things you could do with him. That's the thing,
absolutely. But it's because he's finally on the main kind of like mainstream attention.
Yeah,
the kind of attention he's deserved for a long, long time, but just didn't get until last summer. And, you know, it's all well-deserved to him, but you're right. Like, we haven't seen him wrestle some of the greats who are around. I mean, have we even really seen, like, him versus Triple H?
Well, that match last year on pay-per-view, I mean, that was the only one. They ever had one-on-one,
That's it,
sure.
yeah.
But, yeah.
Well,
a lot of tag matches.
Then the answer is yes, Joe, we have.
We have seen it once, but, yeah.
Gee, now I feel stupid. But, I don't know, yeah, I mean, but insofar as dream matches go, you know, the fact that Kurt's with TNA now and seems to be perfectly happy there, which is a shame for us, because, I mean... Oh, it's the same thing with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar didn't like the travel. He didn't like the heavy schedule, and that's why he left the WWE for the UFC and stuff like that, because it allowed him to live his life on a schedule he was more comfortable with. I think the same thing is true for Kurt Angle, unfortunately, as much as I don't want it to be, because I think there are people in the crowd now, you know, kids and other people who may have gotten into it later in life who have no idea who Kurt Angle is and how good he is.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's a fucking shame, you know? And, you know, it's just... Kurt Angle is one of the best in the world. You know, not to infringe on CM Punk's gimmick or anything. Yeah. But I agree. I think that out of the two, I think Angle is the pure better wrestler.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they both got great charisma.
Oh, yeah. I think Punk's a bit better.
On the mic?
In that respect, I'd say, maybe, but...
I don't know. I think charisma-wise, Angle... I mean, think of the amount of heat Angle
did
used
work
to
as
get.
Sort of comedy roles and serious roles as well.
Exactly. He managed to do it all. Let's check this out here.
What an end.
That's it. Great back and forth match. Great wrestling. Just the kind of thing you'd expect to see. And that's it.
Here we go.
Thanks for checking us out, guys. I'm Steve.
I am Joe.
And we'll catch you guys later.
Bye-bye.
For more information, check out blindtagpodcast.com, and remember, get your Smark on.